What do you think of this? Let's say you are an aspiring photographer who does weekend jobs to make a little bit of extra cash on the side. At what point do you think that you need to declare that as income? When you make $1,000, $10,000, $100,000? Let's find out. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm talking about earning money from different income sources or different income streams and the tax implications that can be associated with earning that money. Earning money through any legal method counts as income, and this is common in most countries. Currently in Australia, once you start earning over $18,200, you will need to pay tax on any dollar that you earn over that as part of your personal income. The other way that you'll be liable to pay income tax is when you make a profit, technically money, but it has to be a profit, on a business. That's here in Australia anyway. So the question you have to ask yourself is the money that you're bringing in as part of a business or part of my own personal income? And then we go down the steps to determine how you need to approach it in regard to whether or not you need to pay tax on that money and what implications there may be. Now, to be clear, you do not need to pay tax or declare any money made on, for example, you selling unwanted items that were purchased for private or personal use. So an example is I sell collectible items, which I have had since I was a young kid. I sell Pokemon cards. I love dealing with them because I know everything about them for someone my age, and it's actually making me a little bit of money. When I say a little bit of money, it's a bit of side money, but it's great. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's the reason that sparked this video. I wanted to understand if I would be needing to declare that as income, because it's money and it's coming in through a channel like eBay, for example. It's coming in through an actual traceable source. However, I've had these items for my entire life. I collected them as kids. I pulled them out of packs and put them into sleeves, and now I'm selling them because there's bits and pieces of my collection that I'm not really wanting to keep. And so I had wanted to figure out and determine whether or not I would need to declare that as income. And turns out, if it's an unwanted item that was purchased for personal or private use, I do not need to declare the sale of that item. The difference between a business and personal buying and selling is not always clear cut. And again, it's what sparked my desire to make this video, because I wanted to know the answer. In my case, the Australian Taxation Office will definitely look at this scenario if I was making enough money for it to be investigated or audited, and they will look at different factors to decide whether or not it would be money that I would need to declare, or that's personal to him. He's just making a bit of extra side cash from something that he's selling that's been locked away in a cupboard for 20 years. The things that they will look at to determine this will be things like, what was the item and what was your motivation for buying it? Was the item used personally before it was sold? How much time has passed between buying and selling that item? What was your motivation for selling the item? Was it an isolated transaction or one of a repeated series of similar transactions? How often do you buy and sell these items? And is your buying and selling organized like a business? Now, in my case, I had a folder with X amount of cards in it, and I basically put them all up on eBay, and they've just slowly been trickling away. So I might fit a couple of these categories throughout that list, but definitely not all of them, and definitely not enough, in my personal opinion, for it to be worthy of them coming and doing an audit. It's literally a hobby that I used to collect them, and the ones that I'm buying are going back into my collection. The ones that I'm selling are gone forever. It's not a business. I'm not trying to make money from it. I'm just trying to get rid of excess. So in my instance, I did some digging and research, and I've determined that it's not a business, and I probably am 99% certain that I'm not going to be liable to pay tax on those sales. However, I needed to seek that answer, and that's why I'm talking about it in this video. A taxpayer can fail to declare income in many different situations, obviously even without knowing it. These include things like receiving money or property which is assessable as income without declaring it. So there are two instances here. In the first instance, where the person knows and deliberately chooses not to declare it as income, and in the instance that they believe that that money is not assessable income and does not declare it as income. So I personally, with my trading card situation here, could fall into that category. Again, I'm confident that I don't, but technically that's a category where I unknowingly could fall into that category. Now, the other situation is where someone could receive money or property which is not assessable as income, but not end up being able to prove it. So in this instance, if I received money through an inheritance or something like that, and I had no way to prove it, then the ATO could essentially audit me and find that I don't have enough evidence to support that that money was not assessable income, and therefore I could be liable for the consequences. So why should you care, and what are the consequences? Well, ultimately, if the ATO were to assess you and found that you had undeclared money that definitely should have been declared, firstly, you would need to pay the tax owed on that money. So you'd be back charged for however much was obtained, and you would be expected to pay that money back to the ATO. On top of this as well, the ATO could charge you interest on the amount that you earned and hadn't declared, and there could be even further penalties depending on the size of the offense. Like I said, the way this will play out will be with you paying tax at the marginal rate on the money that you made. But then from here, the interest that could be charged could be anywhere up to 10% on top of the money you made. And then as a further penalty, you could be expected to pay up to 75% of the money you earned as a lump sum payment. So they could just take a chunk of it from you, depending on the offense. And again, I don't think this is super common in this world. However, I'm sure that it has happened before because it's a rule that is on the ATO website and very clearly written there in a way that says, this is a punishment if you do the wrong thing, or this could be a punishment if you do the wrong thing. So that's why I'm making today's video, is to make you aware if you are someone who may potentially fall into this category, or if you're someone who starts a business down the line, everyone's an entrepreneur these days, I know, something definitely to be aware of, because that's a massive consequence for you either not knowing or you risking it, essentially. Overall, if you are someone who has started a side hustle and started to bring in income on the side, make sure you do declare that as part of your business or part of your personal income, whichever category it falls into. If you're unsure, definitely speak to an accountant or your accountant if you have one, because they will definitely be able to give you the insight and guidance you need as to which will be more beneficial for you so that you pay less tax to the ATO. Now, on top of this again, make sure that you keep adequate records and receipts of anything that basically shows that you're making money through these avenues, because that will support you in any situation where the ATO decide to audit you. Overall, the message here is make sure you're aware of what I'm talking about today. Make sure you're aware of understanding how your money needs to be declared as you earn it, and make sure that you're doing the right thing as you start to earn any extra side money, especially if it's in the thousands of dollars or more. Overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope that it was insightful, and I hope you learned something. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing, and as always, I will see you in the next one.